I'm here today to talk about something that I find to be extremely important in the world, and that is hand hygiene. So, you may be thinking, why would you be talking about hand hygiene? Are you trying to persuade people to wash their hands when they already do? But if you think about it, how many times have you been in, say, a bathroom and someone has left and didn't wash their hands, or your doctor came in and went to talk to you, did your exam, put on your gloves, but didn't wash their hands before, even if a nurse came in and out, or you're just walking down the street, you see people, touching a bunch of things, and then they're eating, or they're touching one of their friends, and they didn't wash their hands. So it may be dramatic, but I think that a lot of people are kind of neglecting this, not always thinking about it. So pretty much, we should be washing our hands because increased hand hygiene can lead to a decreased risk of acquiring infections such as the common cold or the flu. Also, if you wanted to turn it to healthcare facilities, increased hand washing in healthcare facilities can decrease the chances of spreading the illnesses that can be transferred from patient to patient, which is extremely important because in the hospital, we're obviously trying to heal people. So that's just what I wanted to touch on a little bit today. So I'm going to give you some facts now. So I think we do have a problem with people becoming sick. In this day and age, people are constantly becoming sick. I know I'll go into, a classroom and 10 of the 20 people in there during the winter time mainly, but will have, sniffles or at that flu or just be some sort of not so well. So according to the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, there are around 52 million cases of the common cold each year. So that's a lot. Adults usually have an average of 2 to 3 colds per year, but children have it even more. And then, so say you have 2 to 3 colds per year. The CDC also talks about how the cold will usually last between 7 to 10 days. That's a pretty long time, and if you think about it, say you had a flu for a week, that could really impede on your life. Maybe you're missing school, maybe you're missing work. You're probably gonna go to school and gonna go to work because you can't miss it that much, and then you're gonna spread the diseases to other people if you're not washing your hands consistently, if you're not taking care of the bacteria. So that's a problem. And even maybe the cold and the flu isn't that serious to people, but people who do have weakened immune systems or asthma or different respiratory conditions can develop serious illnesses from just, getting a cold from me. So if I got a cold, it wouldn't be a problem, but if I passed that on to somebody who did have a respiratory problem because I wasn't washing my hands and I was touching things that they were using, that could become kind of a serious problem. So people can die from colds and flus. The exact number is not known. However, it's still a serious problem. So going back to the hospitals, infections and illnesses are being transferred from patient to patients every single year. And that's not to say that hospitals are dirty or the nurses aren't doing things, but simple things, even like visitors not washing their hands or their own patients not washing their hands, nurses going in and out, that can become a problem. So these aren't all colds and flus, but they're saying around 700,000 infections are acquired each year in the hospital. And that may be other things, not just related to colds and flus, different kinds of bodily infections from things, but that's just still kind of a problem because obviously there is a lot of bacteria being transferred. So that's something that I think that we should learn to take care of. So to kind of talk about how we can fix this, hand washing obviously cannot single-handedly stop the spread of all bacteria and infections. However, this is a very small step that can be extremely pertinent in reducing this. So, once again, according to the Center for Disease Control, they put out a statement that the simple act is the single most important means of preventing the spread of viral and bacterial infections. So, like I said, obviously there's going to be other factors involved, but washing your hands is just such a simple thing that could really, really prevent touching. Because think about it, if you walk in somewhere and you touch a table, and then you go and you touch your fridge and you touch your doorknob, and then maybe you're going to eat and you're going to go prepare food for somebody else, you're transferring that to them. It doesn't always have to be just touching somebody, but that's also a big problem. So being a nursing major, I imagine a time when hospitals would have half the amount of diseases being spread or acquired or illnesses around. If maybe the common cold wasn't something that was so common, you could say, and it was kind of a more rare thing. Because if you think about it, like I said, 2 to 3, or adults have 2 to 3 colds per year. Like, that's a lot of colds. Maybe if we could say people get 1 cold a year, just because it's obviously going to happen. But, and then, I think we should be teaching our children this, because they do say children get more. If you think about it, children in daycares or even in their lower grades of schooling, they're touching each other constantly. They're always touching something, and they're not washing their hands, and they're just constantly spreading bacteria around to each other because, they're children and they don't know that yet. So I think it's very important for us to kind of implement that in their heads, that if you don't want to be sick and, feel bad, then hand washing can really just, because if everyone washed their hands, everyone who would be touching things wouldn't be sick, and it's just kind of a spiral of how it could help. So I'm here to encourage everyone to take part in hand washing regularly. The general public needs to be aware of how important this is. And like I said, I understand people wash their hands a lot, but just, wash your hands 3 extra times per day. Or when you know you're going to be touching someone or something, or out with a lot of people, or say you're even sick, just wash your hands first. Don't be getting sick and then spreading this disease to everyone else. In the healthcare facilities, like I said, it's extremely important. I think we should maybe put up signs. I think that would be something, just to kind of remind people, because they do get busy. I know even for visitors, just put up the sign, be like, hey, before you enter this room, wash your hands, or before you leave, wash your hands. That way you're not visiting a sick person or taking care of a sick person, moving on to the next one. And I know they teach that a lot, for people who are healthcare providers and things like that. But just like I said, even for the patients and visitors, or for people who work there, just maybe make sure that the hand sanitizers are always filled. It's also important just to not use hand sanitizer. I think we could also maybe kind of stress to people that every so often wash your hands with soap and water and lots of friction, not just the hand sanitizer, which it will work, but obviously, soap and water would be a little bit better. So the pretty much, just to sum it up here, the Center for Disease Control says some 3 tips for you just to stop spreading these bacterial and viral infections. So stay away from people who are sick, first of all, and if you are going to be near them, be washing your hands. Avoid touching your nose, eyes, and mouth, especially when you're out, when you're doing things. Just, that's how you're probably going to get yourself sick. And wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds with a lot of friction. So pretty much this, like I said, seemed very simple, but not everyone is taking part in it. And if we just upped this a little bit, something so small could just kind of honestly save people's lives, for example, who are going to get sick and could die from having a cold. So I think hand washing is extremely important, and I encourage everyone to kind of go forth with the steps I said and just kind of encourage the hand washing to other people. Put up signs if we can in places. Always make sure there's soap available, or just that alcohol for your hands available. And then I think that it could really make a difference in the ways in which people's health are.